So the creative director for Star Wars Outlaws just sat down with Edge magazine to say that, hey, our game that we're making, it's going to be big, like really big. Like you remember Assassin's Creed Odyssey and how big those zones were, and you could go explore all these islands and take your ship and go all over the place. Well, yeah, that was kind of our inspiration for what we were building with Star Wars Outlaws in terms of the size and scope of the game. And while it looks like they've got a Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of the gameplay, as far as scope and size goes, they looked to that particular Assassin's Creed game. And they also mentioned that in contrast to, say, let's look at more recently Starfield, which is using elements of procedural generation, they've said that all of their zones are going to be handcrafted. Now, I have I mean that's an admirable thing to do. It's also insanely challenging because you need a massive team to create that many art assets and everything else. And I personally think that blending, you know, intelligent ways of procedural generation into your world building is not a bad thing, because it does lead you to be able to make things at scale without needing to have the manpower of 1,000 people on your team and blow the budget out of the water. But be that as it may, the interview is pretty telling. If you want to dive in and read through it, it is obviously a subscription based thing. But I think for me, looking at what they're trying to build here, there is talk about, for example, the quote in particular says that each of the handcrafted planets are meant to be, and I'm going to use air quotes here, big enough that traversing it feels like a journey, even when you're using your land speeders. They also highlighted during the interview that the planets are handcrafted, which I think that, while some people might be wanting to just immediately point the finger at Starfield with their 1,000 planets, I think that's not quite accurate. But in the interview here, they don't actually go over that too much. They say more along the lines of each one of the planets might be equivalent to two of the zones in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, maybe three, but specifically said that it's not the sort of the whole of England recreated approach. So for those of you who played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it was I would argue that it was bigger than Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, Odyssey is probably my favorite game in the Assassin's Creed series because of the boat travel, being able to have boat battles and on the open sea with your crew. And while they had raiding in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I don't know, I just like the Greek mythology a little bit more. Now, if you watched me play, I think I played Valhalla when this channel was first starting to get sort of bigger, and a few years ago when it launched, and that game took me 6 months to beat. Not joking here. I was blending it between other things that I was playing at the time, so it was obviously something much more than just, hey, I'm going to play this game and only this game for the next 6 weeks. It took me 6 months to clear Valhalla, and I started off doing a completionist run, and sort of, I think about 65, 70% through, I gave up on that. Said, I'm just going to finish the damn game because otherwise I'm going to be here all year. It was very magnificent in scope, and I'm not one of those people who complains about Ubisoft Assassin's Creed games being too big. I like them big. I like them big. I like them chunky. I do. I like to be able to know that I'm going to get 6 months out of a game like that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But it does sound here like they're trying to focus a little bit more instead of trying to recreate that whole of England. They're looking for more like, hey, we're going to handcraft a few planets, and you're going to be able to explore those at your leisure. Now, what's not mentioned in the interview is how many planets there are going to be. So that's something where we still don't quite know whether or not you're going to be getting 5 planets or 10 planets. So when they say that, this is why I say when we talk about handcrafted, unless we know how many planets they're building, it's not anything necessarily to get too excited about. Because if they only do 3 planets, well, that's not that big. Because when you look at the scope of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, how many zones were there? I'm gonna go look this up real quick. How many zones in Assassin's Creed Odyssey? I really don't know the answer to this. Um, dun, 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 dun. Oh, well, there's regions. I'm pulling up from something from IGN. It doesn't give me a total. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 26. So around 40. It looks like around 40 regions for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So if we look at that and divide that into two or three, we could be looking at 15 to 20 zone or planets, 15 to 20 planets, if they held true to the same size and scope of Odyssey. That's pretty massive. Now, are they going to be giving us 20 planets to explore? Man, unless they've got a budget of $500 million, I highly doubt that's the case. I'd say we'll probably get half a dozen because if you think back to like say Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. We got, you know, 5, 6 planets, 4 to 6 planets to explore with each of those games. I don't have an exact count in front of me, but it was around half a dozen for each one. But you were going back to the planets multiple times to, you know, explore new places. So we don't know anything yet about Outlaws in terms of how many planets it's going to be. But we do know that it's not just about the planet surfaces. We know that you're going to be able to go in orbit around each planet and explore the orbit and engage in dogfights, explore ruins, and all sorts of other stuff as you fly around in the smuggling ship that you have as part of protagonist K. Vess's um, crew. So what's up, everybody? Quick commercial break here to give it a shout out to our guild champions, who are the highest tier memberships here on YouTube: Ancient Entity, Assassin Gamer 94, Bubbleonia Rising, Crazy's Relative, Mujin, and Remedy. Thanks so much for the highest tier membership. And thanks to all of the members who support the channel, because you keep me doing this full time. You too can become a supporter if you're new here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Join as a member. There's 3 different tiers. We do lots of special stuff, private polls, private videos. You get a shout out if you're the highest tier membership, but you can also do one-off donations in the form of super chats on any live stream or premiere you see, and of course super thanks on any upload or YouTube short. Whatever you can contribute, it's great. Keeps me on the air full time, keeps the cats fed, keeps the homestead running. Anyway, back to the video, everybody. So, lots of good things to look forward to with Star Wars Outlaws. This is definitely, right now, Avowed is very high on my list for 2024 games, but Star Wars Outlaws takes the cake for my most anticipated game for 2024, just because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And as much as I love the Pillars of Eternity worlds, and as much as I love Obsidian Entertainment, and I have no doubt that Avowed is going to blow my mind when it comes out, as of the moment, this is the game that takes the cake for me because I've been waiting for a game where I could play a female protagonist for a very long time in the Star Wars universe. And it's a smuggler, and it's set during the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi era, which is like one of my favorite eras of all time. It's not my favorite. My favorite is absolutely the Old Republic era, but the Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi time was really cool, and it evokes that emotion within me of watching those films again. So I can't wait for Star Wars Outlaws. I'm going to be covering news around this game as it comes out. So if you like that kind of stuff, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Join the Discord. Links are down below. See you in the next live stream or video. Until then, stay safe, everybody. May the Force be with you.